Wind across dry land.
Hooves pressing against hardened earth.
Metal glinting beneath a merciless sun. We stand in front of a saloon. Across the street, a stagecoach waits, not for a journey across geography, but across the psyche. We adjust our hat. The spur on our boots catches the light. We carry only a small suitcase, because no one crosses the inner desert carrying excess. We say goodbye to familiar faces. Some do not understand. Some are afraid. But you know something they do not. There are journeys that cannot be postponed. Three passengers are already inside. The ego, the persona, the self. The coachman turns toward us. We recognize him immediately.
Carl Gustav Jung.
This journey will not be comfortable, but it will be necessary.
Jung gathers the reins. There will be sandstorms, moments when meaning dissolves. There will be drought, when the soul feels dry. There will be bandits, forces within you that you have denied. He is speaking of the unconscious. Most people live and die within the boundaries of their conscious identity. But Carl Jung discovered something radical. Beneath the personal unconscious, there is something older, a deeper layer, shared by all humanity. He called it the collective unconscious. And within it live the archetypes. The journey has its own grammar, and we are now inside it. What are archetypes precisely? Before we go further, we need to understand what we are actually talking about, because archetypes are widely misunderstood. They are not characters in a story. They are not aesthetic labels. They are not personality types from a quiz. They are structural patterns of psychic energy, primordial organizing principles, inherited potentials of perception and behavior. Just as your body inherits a nervous system capable of fear before you ever encounter danger. The hero, the mother, the king, the shadow, the wise old man. These are not inventions of culture. They are recurring psychic realities discovered independently across millennia by civilizations that never communicated. This repetition is not coincidence, it is structure. Think of it this way. The surface of human culture, our myths, our gods, our stories, our dreams, is the fruit. The archetypes are the root system. You don't see roots, but they determine everything that grows.
Carl Jung was not the first to suspect this. Plato spoke of ideal forms.
The Vedic tradition spoke of cosmic principles preceding the individual. Myths across every culture feature the same cast. The hero departing on a journey, the adversary blocking the road, the wise one who appears at the threshold, the shadow self that must be confronted. Carl Jung gave this a psychological language. He said, "These are not poetic coincidences. These are structural features of the human psyche itself. The collective unconscious is not a place. It is a dimension of the psyche shared by all human beings, regardless of time, geography, or culture. It does not contain memories. It contains predispositions, the predisposition to fear the dark, the predisposition to recognize a mother's face, the predisposition to feel awe before vastness, the predisposition to project authority onto certain kinds of figures. These are not learned, they are inherited as form. Archetypes are the invisible grammar of human experience, and you are living one right now. The question is, are you living it consciously? How archetypes act through you. An archetype can manifest in two fundamentally different ways. When it is unconscious, it possesses you. When it is integrated, it empowers you. This is not a minor distinction. It is the difference between fate and freedom. Consider courage. Courage is not simply a decision you make with your rational mind. It is an activation of something deeper. When circumstances demand confrontation, when everything in you wants to retreat, but something else rises, that is, the hero archetype moving through you. When someone steps forward in chaos and organizes the situation, when order emerges from disorder through a single person's calm. Authority, that is, the king archetype moving through them. When someone who has been suppressed for years finally erupts, when the rage that was never acknowledged becomes destruction, that is, the shadow archetype operating in its raw and unintegrated form. You do not choose whether archetypes exist. They are structural, like gravity. What you choose is whether you relate to them consciously. Carl Jung, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Fate is often unconscious pattern, and pattern is archetypal. Let us be more precise about what this looks like in real life. A man who was never allowed to show weakness in childhood may unconsciously adopt the warrior archetype, not as a source of strength, but as a compulsion. He does not fight because the situation demands it. He fights because he does not know how to stop. The archetype is not his tool. He is its instrument. A woman raised to care for everyone around her may unconsciously identify so completely with the mother archetype that her own needs become invisible, even to herself. She does not choose nurturing as an expression of wholeness. She is driven by it, unable to receive, unable to rest, unable to exist outside of being needed. In both cases, a real and valuable archetypal force is present. The warrior, the great mother. These are not pathologies. They are forces of enormous power, but unconscious activation is not empowerment. It is possession. The goal, what Carl Jung called individuation, is not to eliminate these forces. It is to meet them consciously, to relate to them, to integrate them as part of a larger, more complete self. Inside the coach, we need to understand who is traveling with us. The first passenger, the ego. The ego is your sense of I. It is the executive function of your conscious mind. It plans, it decides. It narrates your experience to itself, and it believes, most of the time, that it is in charge. It is not entirely wrong about this, but it is wrong about the extent of it. Beside the ego sits the persona. The persona is the mask you developed for the world. Not dishonesty, not necessarily adaptation. The version of you that learned what was acceptable, rewarded, and safe to show. The professional persona, the family persona, the social persona, each one slightly different. Necessary for functioning in society. But when the persona becomes more real to you than your actual inner life, when you cannot remove the mask without feeling that there is nothing behind it, you have identified with it, and that is a crisis the outer world cannot solve. Across from them sits the self, silent, whole. Watching the self is not the ego. It is the totality of the psyche, conscious and unconscious both. It is the organizing center around which the whole psychological system revolves. The ego relates to the self the way the earth relates to the sun. It orbits something larger than itself. Jung described the self as the archetype of wholeness and simultaneously of meaning. When you feel fundamentally on track, when life feels coherent and purposeful, even in difficulty, the ego and the self are in alignment. When you feel fractured, compelled by forces you don't understand, living someone else's life they are not. The journey of individuation, Carl Jung's central concept, is the process of aligning the ego with the self, not the inflation of the ego, not self-importance, not becoming your best self in the pop psychology sense. Something more demanding. Integration. To individuate is to become psychologically whole. To contain the opposites within yourself without splitting. To know your shadow without becoming it. To wear the persona without losing your face. To carry the archetypal forces as instruments of meaning, not as compulsions that carry you. And archetypes are the forces encountered along the way. Every encounter on this road is a meeting with one of them. The lion, the hero, the king, the shadow, the trickster, each one a threshold, each one an initiation. If you are still here, something in you recognizes this terrain, not as theory, as lived experience. Perhaps you have felt misaligned, restless in a life that looks correct from the outside. A persistent sense, not dramatic, not crisis, simply a quiet, persistent knowing that you are not fully living from your center, that something more is available, that the version of you showing up in the world is not the whole story. That tension is not pathology. It may be initiation. Archetypes awaken when life demands expansion. When the container you have been living in becomes too small. When the role no longer fits the self that is growing inside it. The psyche generates pressure. Dreams intensify. Synchronicities accumulate. Old patterns become unbearable. Something is asking to be seen. In Carl Jung's terms, this is often the beginning of an archetypal encounter. The desert appears when the old identity can no longer contain the self. Many people reach this threshold and turn back. The discomfort is real. The unknown ahead is genuine, and the world outside offers 1,000 distractions, all of them willing to take you. But something in you is here, right now, listening to this. And we do not believe that is an accident. This channel is not entertainment. It is orientation. We are not presenting Carl Jung's psychology as an academic artifact. We are presenting it as a map drawn from deep wells of human experience, clinical, mythological, philosophical, and deeply personal. A map that may help you recognize where you are, and more importantly, where the road goes. We are not spectators here. We are travelers, and you are not alone on this road. This episode is the threshold. It is not an arrival. It is the beginning of the road. Ahead of us lies a series of archetypal encounters. Each one is its own landscape. Each one requires different preparation. We begin with the lion. The lion is not aggression. It is not dominance. It is not the performance of power. It is sovereign presence, the posture of inner authority, the courage to occupy space without apology, the refusal to shrink in the face of judgment or approval. We live in a culture that confuses the lion with violence and then wonders why so many people are completely disconnected from their own authority. The next episode will walk directly into this archetype, not to romanticize it, not to weaponize it. After the lion comes the hero. The hero is not the winning, it is the crossing. The willingness to depart the known world, to enter the ordeal, not because you are certain of victory, but because the call cannot be refused. Then the king. The king archetype is not about ordering the inner kingdom. When the king archetype is healthy and active, a person becomes a source of stability for those around them, not through force, but through centeredness. Then the shadow in its raw form. The shadow is the most misunderstood of all the archetypes and the most important. It is not merely the dark side. It is everything the ego has rejected, suppressed, or failed to acknowledge. And until it is met consciously, it moves through the world, doing damage under the name of other people. Each episode is not theory. It is encounter. Carl Jung tightens the reins. The desert stretches ahead. Carl Jung. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, Jung, but by making the darkness conscious. That is the commitment of this channel. It's not light without shadow, not strength without vulnerability, not heroism without the reckoning that produces it. Real psychological work is not comfortable, but it is honest. And honesty, inner honesty, is the only terrain on which something lasting can be built. The stagecoach moves. Dust rises behind us. You are no longer standing in front of the saloon. You are on the road. Subscribe to walk it consciously. Next stop, the lion archetype. The journey inward has begun.